going to go on to our next email question, and it comes from Frankie. My brother was exposed to coronavirus at work. Two of his coworkers had the virus and was told by management not to tell anybody and to keep working. Is there anything he can do about this? He was tested positive for coronavirus last week.
I think that's a big problem if the business is trying to hide the fact that somebody has symptoms. The responsible businesses around here have sent people home and told them to self-quarantine if they had the fever or the cough or the other symptoms from the CDC that they put out. I think if you're intentionally putting people at risk, especially with the technology to work from home nowadays, I think that's a big problem. I think as far as where do you go and who do you tell, that's a different issue. I think you probably need to tell the State Board of Health, and you probably need to talk to a lawyer about maybe your employer, because that is certainly putting you and your other coworkers in a hostile, dangerous work environment. Harry, you got any thoughts?
Other than just to say, it's these times are bad enough. You need to go to work. You need to put food on the table. You don't need to be worried about going to work and getting sick. Some people are in non-essential areas. And so maybe they can work from home. Some people, though, they have to work around others simply because of the nature of their job. They ought to have at least a safe environment for sure.
That's right.
One thing that comes to mind to me is around privacy, your medical privacy, because early on when this was going on, you saw so many media reports coming out of people sharing names. This person tested positive, that person tested positive. And we're talking about employers. Obviously, I would imagine they wouldn't have to say which coworker has the virus, but just that right of sharing with their employees that someone has had contracted the virus. What are your thoughts around that? I'm imagining these are people who just don't mind sharing the information, but are there any legal issues regarding that?
I think, in the businesses where I've seen this, they'd had to deal with this, the HR, the Human Resources Department had to be very careful. They wouldn't name the actual employee, but they would say, we're going to make you aware that someone with the symptoms was in the office, yesterday from 2 to 4 p.m. Therefore, you may want to go get tested, or you may need to self-quarantine. But no, I don't think you can just reveal the name of the person who reported symptoms to go self-quarantine. There's a difference between that and what I think one of the big newspapers, the New York Times, printed a list of all the people who had died. Now that once they've died, that becomes a public record. And I think they can post that. But just someone who reported symptoms, I would have a hard time seeing how you get around the HIPAA law, which is the healthcare privacy law, to post their name just because they simply self-reported, which they should do.
Okay, Harry, do you want to add anything quickly?
I mean, we want to encourage people that if we don't want them to be fearful to go to their human resources and say, hey, I've got a situation going on. We want people to be honest and come forward and be conscientious of their other coworkers. So if they have symptoms, we don't want to release their names. We don't want to embarrass them, because we want to encourage people if there are issues, to let the workplace know so they can take appropriate measures.